In the thrill of victory and the agony of defeat, either way, you win. Have a stake in the race with ExpressBet.
Dan Illman, Matt Bernier, the feature race at Pimlico on Friday, and your DRF.com formulator race of the day is the Grade 2 Black-Eyed Susan Stakes for 3-year-old fillies, carded as race number 11 on a fantastic card at Pimlico. Let's take a look at the field for the Black-Eyed Susan. Matt, big field, really good betting race. I wouldn't be surprised if the favorite is 7-2 or 4-1.
You could make a case for really, I think, all 11 of them in here. They've all got their own positives. They've all got their own negatives. There's no superstar in this field right now, anyway, at this stage in the game. But it is a fascinating betting race, and it should be an interesting one from a pace dynamic as well.
This race kicks off a $300,000 guaranteed 50-cent pick 4, as well as the special Black-Eyed Susan Preakness Stakes Daily Double. So head on over to the Formulator, the Race of the Day event page on DRF.com and download your free Formulator past performances. There appears to be a good amount of speed in this race, perhaps led by the horse down on the rail, the number 1 Shimmering Aspen, who has won her last 3 starts sprinting on the engine. Boy, she looked good last time out. The question is, can she go this far with some pace heat?
Yeah, and can she handle this hiking class? I've been blown away by her. I really think she has a lot of ability here. Rodney Jenkins does a good job in the Mid-Atlantic, and this is the kind of horse she gives off the impression that she is the goods. The question is going from 7/8 of a mile to 9 furlongs, other speed, and much tougher competition. She has the highest last out buyer in the field with an 82. I think she's very, very interesting, and she's a main contender.
A horse that can be forward, and here is the number 2, Tappa, who started dirt racing somewhat late in her career after beginning on the synthetic surface at Woodbine and then on turf, both at Woodbine at Keeneland. Nice performance in the Suncoast Stakes, although a late hasn't exactly come back and validated that performance. Last time out in the Honeybee Stakes, if you look at the time form US PPs for that race, big pace up front. She was part of it, and she was still punching on home late. I thought that was a good effort. She doesn't need to lead to win.
And you know, you look at that most recent start as well. I know it is, well, maybe she bombed a little bit in the Santa Anita Derby, or the Santa Anita Oaks rather. Benner Island came back to win the 8 bells on Derby weekend. So I think the form of that race is decent enough. I'm not going to say that it's a detriment that you had 2 horses that didn't really run all that well coming out of it. She's interesting because at this point in her career, she's got big early speed. And with Shimmering Aspen drawn just to the inside and some of the other speed on the outside, I'm curious what Jesus Castanon's going to do. I think her best game is going. The question is, if she goes, do we have a repeat of the Honeybee?
I think she's going to break if Shimmering Aspen wants to go. I think Jesus is going to play the odds that Shimmering Aspen stepping up in class, stretching out in distance. He's going to try to handicap the race and think that Tappa can get her, especially at this distance. The number 3 is Dancing Rags. Now, she won the Grade 1 Alcibiades Stakes last year. A lot of folks were disappointed by her seasonal debut. She just didn't do much running and was kind of cold on the tote board in the Grade 3 Beaumont Stakes, but perhaps Graham Motion was using the race as a prep. Cue the formulator fact for Motion and Dancing Rags. Past 4 years, 3-year-olds on dirt, stretching out second off the bench, 50%, a big ROI. This horse might be a nice price, despite her fairly impressive credentials.
Yeah, she's the only Grade 1 winner in this field. It's going to be interesting to see what you end up getting out of her because, boy, she was terrible in the Beaumont. And maybe it was nothing more than a prep, getting her ready for, eyes on a bigger prize. If you draw a line through the Alcibiades, you're left with a horse that hasn't run faster than a 64 buyer. That's not going to get it done.
We mentioned the fast pace. Let's see what the Timeform US Pace Projector has in store for our race of the day. Fast pace, as you see by that red bar. Full House, the number 4. I'm not sure she's the one that's going to make the running instead of the 1 Shimmering Aspen, who I think is just going to be quarter-horsed out of there. But it must be noticed that Full House's only career win came when she was on a clear lead, and she won by $1 million that day.
The other thing to keep in mind about this horse, I don't know about you, I didn't like the Gazelle as a whole. I understand Miss Sky Warrior, she's a talented horse. She came out of that, and she was part of that barbecue up front in the Kentucky Oaks. You can't lose to a horse that I don't particularly love in Yorkie Poo Princess the way that you did 2 starts back. She's a full to classy class who ended up being much more of a sprinter.
Right, by discreetly mine.
I don't know how far she wants to go.
I think that's a fair question. When you look at the Gazelle, while Lockdown, the runner-up, came back and ran really well in the Kentucky Oaks, Lockdown was stopping to a walk inside the final furlong, and she still was able to hold off Full House. To me, that was a disappointing finish, and your point is very well taken about her ability at 1 1/8, especially if this pace projector plays out. The 5 Lights of Medina, as you see from the pace projector, is far back and is licking her chops at the prospect prospect of a fast pace. Looks like Todd's gotten her good. She's won her last 2 races, although that Weber City miss over a sloppy track, I thought she was beat turning into the stretch, and I think she just got it done on class alone.
You know, it's a tough call for me on her because she just looks like she's a grinder. She doesn't do anything spectacular, but it just seems like as the distance continues on, she just finds her best stride late. If this thing turns into a war of attrition, I think she has a big chance. If it turns into a race where one of these horses steps up and runs a big one, I think she's in trouble.
The number 6 is Corporate Queen, one of 2 in here trained by Mark Casse. Corporate Queen is very lightly raced, so we can certainly make the case that a forward move is in the cards, but we have a Mark Casse formulator fact. It's not great. Past 5 years, 3-year-old dirt routers off mini layoffs and graded stakes 4% and a 75-cent return on investment. It is worth noting, though, that Corporate Queen took advantage of a big pace in her debut and rallied from way out of it.
She did. You know, going into the Fairgrounds Oaks, I had kind of high hopes for her. I thought that she was a sneaky player in there, and she did no running whatsoever. And that was a stark contrast, in my opinion, to the race at Gulfstream 2-pack, where she was against the grain going 7/8 of a mile, and she came on at the end. It looked like we had something here. I don't know. It's just hard for me to bet her off of that really poor effort in Louisiana.
Although Farrell came back to really bomb in the Kentucky Oaks. Vexatious has come back to run well in the Fantasy and then in the Kentucky Oaks. So we'll see what we get from Corporate Queen, returning to Joel Rosario, who was aboard for that Gulfstream race 2 starts back. The number 7, Moana, $300,000 daughter of Uncle Mo, game winner at Keeneland around 2 turns last time out. But that was just a maiden race, and it hasn't come back strong just yet.
Hasn't come back strong. I think she's a little bit slow. She's going to need to improve, but I don't think that's, you know, totally out of the realm of possibility. I think she's going the right direction. She looks like she can run a little bit. And the thing that blew me away the most, it shouldn't have too much of an effect here. It's only an added 16th of a mile. Her gallop out was otherworldly. She was galloped out like she had never even taken a breath going out onto the backside. I wonder if down the road you're going to be looking at this as a kind of filly in a race like the Alabama. 10 furlongs, give her as much ground as possible because it looks like she wants to run all day.
Let's move on to the 9, Summer Luck, the other one trained by Casse. 5-1 on the morning line. Javier Castellano takes them out. I wouldn't be surprised if she goes off favored in this race. I thought she was against the grain of the track in the Ashland last time out, sort of a speed favoring race and a race with no pace anyway. She was trying to punch on down towards the inside. I liked her race in the Devona Dale against the grain of the way the 1-turn miles at Gulfstream were playing this meet. She's an intriguing player, but she's the kind of horse to me that's like, you know, interesting at 8-1. If she's 4-1 or 7-2, I don't want her.
Agree 100%. She has all the built-in excuses for why certain things have not worked out for her. I just wonder, you know, like you said, it's one thing if you're 8 or 10-1. It's another thing if you're 7-2 or 3-1 vying for favoritism.
Yorkie Proof Princess takes a tough post position. She draws way to the outside, but the report was she did bleed in the Gazelle. She's going to get Lasix for the first time. And if you draw a line through the Gazelle, you're looking at a horse that's won her last 4 dirt races and won them all pretty easily, utilizing a variety of running styles. She just didn't do it very fast except for that one sprint.
And that's the thing. I look at her, I say, okay, the Lasix going on, that should help her cause I can't imagine the Cantharos relishing 9 furlongs, and I haven't visually been blown away by any of her races.
Top selections for our race of the day, the Black-Eyed Susan. We do expect a big pace. You're going to go with the number 8, Torrent. Let's talk about her fantasy.
Well, you just look at the fantasy as a whole. This is a horse that, for me anyway, I've kept an eye on her all throughout the winter, and it seems like she was slowly but surely getting a little bit more mature. And I thought the fantasy was really, she was still a little bit rank early on, going into the first term, but I felt like that was the most mature she's been the entire time. And she reminds me a little bit, not saying that she's as talented or as fast, as a horse like Looking at Lee. There's something there, but it's slowly coming along. It takes a little bit of time, maybe a little bit more distance. She gets out to 1 mile and 1/8 here. You look at the family, she's by Blame. She's at a title pool, who was multiple graded stakes dirt router. I think second off the bench in the fantasy, you know, she's going to take a step forward. She was about 9-10 paths off the rail. I thought Jose got into her a little bit and she ran on. She is slow. She needs to improve, but she's going to be a number in here. And if the pace develops the way it looks like it will, based on the pace projector, she's shown that she can be a little bit more tactical. But I think this is going to be the best race of her life. Whether it's good enough to win or not, we'll find out. But I like her.
Torrent, 15-1 on the morning line. I'll also take a stab with a price source, the number 10 Actress, 12-1 on the morning line. She's only raced twice. She's yet to win, but she's got some pedigree to be sure as she stretches out for the first time for Jason Service. She's by Tappet, out of either a half or a full to a Woodbine Oaks winner. So I'm not really too concerned about distance. This is not an ideal post position. It's up for Nick Juarez to kind of hustle out of there, avoid getting involved in the hot pace duel, avoid getting hung out too wide going into the first turn, so it's a little bit of a delicate dance for Actress, but I like the way she moved forward last time out, and I think when the winner came up to her on the outside, it kind of shocked Juarez a bit and forced this horse's hand to go a little bit early in between horses. She ran okay. Her buyers make her competitive in this race, and the fact that she's a maiden, I think she's going to be a price.
The other thing, too, that I'm most interested in, I think the stretch out is going to be helpful for her. You look at the pedigree, like you said, on the bottom, you've got Woodbine Oaks winners in there. You look at the dam herself. I mean, she was a multiple Grade 1 stakes dirt router, so placed anyway. I think the additional distance is only going to be beneficial. She's certainly a player.
Give me numbers.
8197.
I'm going to go 10125 in the Grade 2 Black Eyed Susan Stakes, Friday's race of the day at Pimlico. And if you happen to be betting this really nice card at Pimlico, DRF Bets invites you to be a VIP for a week. Head on over to drfbets.com/VIP, sign up, you get a $300 bonus and lots more. Approximate post time for the Black Eyed Susan, 4:50 Eastern on Friday. Good luck.